said it looks like I'm in a teenage girl's bedroom.
Yeah.
To some people, that would be an insult, but to me, I find that quite flattering, to be honest. You know, like, that's exactly what you'd expect.
Like, what the fuck would I read for you? You've got a fit sister who's 16, maybe.
Muslims have the best frame on earth.
Crazy.
I want this. No, I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's what I want.
I was contacted by Andrew Tate, the older of the Tate brothers, 3 years ago when I was just 16.
So I messaged her. She's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a fuck. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. 6 years. 6 years.
So he's been with Vivian for 6 years, right?
Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28. Vivian's like 21.
Vivian's 21. And at this point, he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
I'm all these 16-year-old women or 18-year-old women, whatever the law is in America. 18?
It's 18 usually. You get married at 16. I think.
All right, in Romania, it's 16. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
This is your last podcast. What is the one thing you want men to remember?
I always, when I was presented with the red pill and the blue pill, I have always my entire life taken the brave choice. At the time of filming of this podcast, I have just rejected their $50 million to drop my case and make all this go away. I just took a brave choice. And now they're all sitting around a table deciding what they can do. I guarantee they're saying, is there anything we can do besides kill it? Or does he want to be in a plane accident? Planes crash, bro. Shit happens. The world moves on. Epstein died, the world's moved on just fine. Shit happens. And I actually think the reason I've said no to them is because if I say yes to them, I think that they may still consider killing me. So what I'm going to do, instead of living this way for the rest of my life, as a king with that sword over my head, I'm going to force a decision. Either I'm going to fucking win, or you're going to kill me.
right here in Miami. I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news. Tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me.
Breaking, Andrew and Tristan Tate have.
All right. Welcome everybody that's watching from the respective platforms to another episode of The Men's Table. I'm your host, Jeff St. James. We have Mr. Darwin McPherson. We have Mr. True in the building. And then we also have Mr. Fantastic making a second appearance, man. How you fellas doing, man? What's going on?
What's going on with y'all, man?
Can't complain.
Yeah, blessed to be here, man. Can't complain.
Definitely blessed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, on grind mode like everybody else, honestly, man. And everybody that's currently watching, if you haven't done so, please make sure that y'all like this. Make sure that y'all subscribe to everybody that you see, or at least follow us on all respective platforms. And most importantly, make sure that y'all share this. Share this with at least 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. I think this is going to be a really interesting, thought-provoking conversation about the Tates, how they got into this situation with their most recent arrest, and even hearing what the fellas have to say about this whole thing. So before we go into the gist of what's pretty much transpired with their recent arrest and extradition, what do you guys think about Andrew Tate and him being seen as like a representation of men talking in this space? Is it accurate? What do y'all think about him? And what do y'all think about the charges and what's happening with him and his brother potentially? Anybody can go.
Well, I'll take a stab at it, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Glad to be back again. Yeah, man. Andrew Tate speaks more to the quote unquote white manosphere than the manosphere as a whole or whatnot. Him being a representative, I never followed Andrew Tate. I was never an Andrew Tate follower because he said something about liking Transformers, right? So the minute he said that, I was like,
that's how he started off already.
Yeah.
I remember that.
The minute he said he choose a man over a biological woman, I was already never gonna step in that door. But this is very, very unfortunate, man. And this is what they need, right, to kill the quote unquote red pill or any type of men's first movement, is to have someone with non-acceptable ideologies. And that's why I think one of the biggest things and travesties we did was having people that were too controversial, too far out, be the face and a representation of something that's very, very important for not just men, but society as a whole. So you can't have a man out here that's, and I understand, legally, a lot of people don't understand that the age of consent, most age of consent states are under 18, just in America, not to mention globally, right? And again, I'm not condoning it, I'm not supporting it, but most people are not going to support that, especially American people. And that is the headquarters of the red pill movement and ideology. So if the main thing comes from American, it's an American based, to where 18 is where it is, and even that is taboo depending on the age gap, right? That was never going to be successful.
True. What about you? What do you think about Tate and this recent situation and like all that's happening with him? And why do you think he's seen as such a big like figure and representative to so many men and boys?
I actually like Andrew Tate. I think his message is abrasive, and it is controversial. I believe the reason why he gets such so much pushback is the fact that he's a loud microphone. So basically, it's not surprising anytime you have a man who speaks on his confidence, speaks on his accomplishments, who's unapologetic in his pursuit of greatness. The media arms are going to do everything in their power to, besmirch your name. And the new playbook is not just, you being a man, but then you have to be a terrorist of sorts. You have to be some type of villain. And so, I mean, the new playbook is some type of SA charge, some sexual deviant of sorts, because they can't say that he's broke. They can't say that he's not accomplished. They can't say that, in some respects, some may say, his physical prowess and all those things. So the only thing that now is open to the mass media is a man who is taking advantage of the volatile species that is women. I think he gets such attention, and he is speaking to the spirit of the men. And hey, no, be better. You're broke. Do better. Which is collectively what all of us are saying, is that us as men, we need to take charge and stand firm and push forward. And so they don't like that. That is not the promotion of the society that they want. Men like Andrew Tate help to awaken a different consciousness and give you a different way of walking this thing called life, not being feeble, not being weak. And so that's why I think that their new agenda is to silence him in all way, shape, and form.
Do you think, True, and from your vantage point, as somebody who does like some of the things that he, espouses, do you wonder if that's making people blind to the possibility of potential crimes that he could have been actually a part of? Like, people who like his message, are they able to also see the potential of that he could do anything wrong? Or do you think it's one like for me, the people who hate him, it doesn't matter what he says that's correct, they're not going to receive anything from him. And I'm also starting to wonder now if the people who support him, do you think most people that like him or like his message can reasonably look at this situation and actually come to a conclusion that he also might be guilty of some things? Or do they only think it's just an agenda to, attack him, and that it's not at all about crimes he may have actually committed? What do you think?
It's hard to speak on it from what they may assume, mainly because from what I follow, nobody who's claimed to be victim of his crimes have been able to give like any type of solid proof. And they've interviewed dozens and dozens and dozens of these women, right? So I think that, to your question, to be objective, maybe it's hard to say. Anybody is capable, but what I try to do is I look at what is the trend. I mean, we had just recently Devin Haney being accused of the same crime, not trafficking, but SA. So what it is there's a playbook. If you're a successful man and you're a successful man of color, the only way they can get you in cuffs, they can't prove tax evasion, so on and so forth, you have to violate a woman. And everybody knows that is a knee-jerk reaction. Current day, that's the trend. Almost every famous person that got our skin has been thrown this same tagline, this practice. You had to violate a woman. There's no way you're this successful and you didn't violate a woman. And he's not married and so on and so forth. So
Wow.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Darwin, what about you? What are your thoughts about all of this?
I share some of the same sentiment that the gentleman that just spoke before me. I think Andrew Tate is polarizing. I think his origination from being a MMA fighter or a kickboxer, I believe, is pretty cool. Coming into the space to tell men to be all they can be, level up, and then giving them a different perspective and understanding about how to deal with women. And how to carry yourself is pretty cool. Overall, I just have a level of interest in people like that is able to captivate an audience from a more polarizing and more extreme point of view, and be able to just to stay at the top of the trend when it comes to a particular space, dealing with how men operate and how women operate, and the harsh truths about relationships. It's a sacrifice that men got to make in this world to be able to just be vocal and say a lot of the things that most people wouldn't be able to say if they wanted to keep a security, a clearance, a job, not avoid burning bridges with family members and stuff like that, or being exposed or being hunted down by people that have political power that want to silence you. So it's not a lot of men that are cut out to want to be willing to do that. And this thing about him, wanting to be with teenagers and stuff, from my perspective and what I saw in the videos, it sounded like it might be misconstrued. I can't confirm that. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more digging, but I did catch whenever he was. I think his mentality is fixed on the Romanian law when it comes to the legal limit, and that could be taken out of context if he's making those claims and those statements on a different soil that has a different legal limit. So if you're talking about 16 years old on U.S. soil, people are gonna call you. You know what people? I don't know want to say the word on YouTube, but you know what people are gonna call you. But in his country, that's legal. So he could, he's got to, I guess, know your audience and know where you're at whenever you start traveling, because that could come and bite you in the ass. But it sounds like that's not even what they're fixating it on whenever it comes to the charges. And I know you want to get into that. It sounds like they may have some deeper information or intel or evidence on them that is connecting to something illegal. And I'm just standing by to wait on it instead of just pouncing on a confirmation bias. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Now, real quick, for everybody that's wondering, in regards to, I believe, Romanian, it says that the various legal provisions imply the functional age of consent for a sexual activity is 16 years old, although that is not explicitly established in the law. Certain offenses are subject to a close in age exception when the age difference between the child and the offender is less than 5 years of age, or 5 years age difference. And real quick, everybody that's currently watching, if we can get it to up to 200, even 300 people concurrently watching, y'all know what y'all got to do. Make sure that y'all like this. Make sure that y'all share this with every man, woman, and person that you think would be absolutely beneficial and would enjoy this type of content. And real quick, and don't be afraid if y'all want particular topics or questions or comments to be shared or for us to cover, feel free to hit the super chat button so we don't miss y'all. Cookif, man, welcome, man. Appreciate you for being a faithful member and adults in the room. And then we got Kim 1. They said the UK was after them. Yeah. And I think we'll have an additional conversation once we talk about these charges about what's happening in the UK and whether or not that's an indication of what's been happening, not just with them, but potentially what's happening with the population as a whole. All right. So for starters, man, the charges. I'm going to read some of this off just to kind of bring us up to speed. First was the initial timeline, man. April 2022. They had a house raid, and that was conducted by Romanian police and in the Tates and their villa, and based on a tip from an American woman that would claim to be being held against her will. December 2022, brothers were arrested in Bucharest along with two Romanian women. They were detained on suspicion of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group. What else we have? We had March 2023, 2023, they had detention extended multiple times by Romanian judges, while asset seizures, including luxury cars and properties, were executed. They were placed on house arrest in March of 2023. Indictment finalized by Roman prosecutors, formally charging the 4 suspects. And then in August of 2023, it looks like the judicial control replaces house arrest, allowing them to move freely within Bucharest. And then March of last year, the UK arrest warrants issued by the Bedfordshire police separate historic sexual aggression and rape allegations spanning 2012 to 2015. A Romanian court rules they will be extradited to UK, but only after Romanian trial concludes. Tax evasion lawsuit looks like it was in July 2024 as well. And then August 2024, second Romanian investigation launched following a new round of property raids, new allegations including trafficking minors, money laundering, and witness tampering. December 2024, indictment invalidated by the Romanian judge who sends the initial 2023 case back to prosecutors, citing procedural errors, stalling the case. Then it says their travel ban was lifted in February of this year, and they were immediately came to Florida. And then lastly, in 2025 of May of this year, May of 2025, UK charges are formally confirmed by the UK Crown Prosecution Service. And obviously, we're going to go into what all those charges are, which pretty much in essence brings us up to speed. So July 19th of this year, they now have, and 18th, they were arrested in Miami by U.S. Marshals. And then to be extradited. And then obviously, I think on the 19th, 38 new charges are announced by the UK CPS relating to 4 additional historical crimes. The new counts against Andrew Tate include rape, choking, assault, and 19 offenses related to indecent images of children and extreme pornography. This brings the total number of UK charges against the brothers to 59. And it says a federal court appearance in Miami was on the 20th, where the brothers, shackled in prison uniforms, formally declared their intent to fight extradition to the UK. They remain held in a Florida jail pending detention. So that was a lot. So now that y'all have heard all of that, initial thoughts, obviously we didn't see or know and wasn't there, but what do y'all think about the fact that UK got involved and that they're trying to extradite these guys? Listen, these brothers have been able to be on the outside, house arrest, out partying in Miami. Now extradition is on the table for UK specifically. Mr. Fantastic, I want to hear from you first. What do you think about, are they in trouble? Basically is what I'm asking.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They have a first world government and legal system that's after them versus, Romania is considered to be, not one of the best when it comes to legal, let's just say ethics, right? They can be bought over there. That's one of a very, very corrupt European nation. So who knows, right? But if you get UK involved, and now the USA has started the extradition process, they have something. Better safe to say, more likely than not. If the USA has agreed to, and then especially being that Donald Trump has to okay it, and Trump is his boy, trust and believe something has been shown to them where it's so iffy, even if it's not concrete, it looks so bad as to where America can no longer be a buffer. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Why specifically? I know you said they're like considered the first world, but like from a political standpoint, why do you think he's potentially in more trouble with the UK than maybe many other places, in your opinion?
Well, I think his original citizenship was the UK, right? I think he's a British/American, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought he was originally an American and he was ended up in the UK.
His dad is American or something. Yeah, well, my bad. You're right. Yeah. So I think you have it right. He ended up in America because his dad is black or whatever, and his mom was British, and then they moved to the UK and so on and so forth. Yep. So I don't know who or what he's done as to where anything, but he clearly did something within the borders of the UK as to where they had jurisdiction. So that's why they're getting involved.
Mm-hmm. What about you guys? What do you guys think in terms of his and his brother's odds? And how much trouble do you think they are in, be specifically because it's UK and not say here or somewhere else?
Oh, what I'm seeing is this is something that happened between alleged victims between I think 2020 was it 2010 and 2017. So this is over 10 years ago of some charges. I guess they're finally trying to bring them to justice. So they finally, and you know how those people work. They wait till they get enough evidence so they can have a strong case before they start wasting money and resources to try to bring you to justice. So I think that's what finally happened. It took them years to do it. So they finally got the necessary evidence to be able to try to convict these guys. So I think this situation probably be the most probably the hardest battle they're gonna have to face in those courts, because if you look at their conviction rate, it's no different than whenever the DA or the what does it call it? It's the DA, the main prosecutor, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
When the DA start to step in, it's trouble. You know what I'm saying? You got a fight on your hands. So
Yeah. I'm in the camp that they're in real trouble. Just like y'all said. I think the level of trouble they're probably in is real bad, and it's less about them and it's more so about the direction of the UK government for quite some time now. Anybody that's been paying attention, if y'all haven't been paying attention to what's been happening in the UK now for about 5-6 years now, people are getting arrested off of social media posts. Like the freedom speech law, like the speech laws that they have over there are actually being enforced. And between the migrant issue, the rampant migrant raping and sexual assault crisis that's happening in real time, and people getting fired and or arrested if they even speak on it, and the UK government enforcing this, there is an ideological push. And I cannot explain it with the things that we complain about over here in the US about all the gynocracy and the justice system is feminized. Put it on steroids. That's the UK right now. So the fact that they were knocking at the door trying to extradite him from Romania, now they're doing it with US, and they were somewhat almost successful because the guys haven't officially been pulled yet, but it's very clear they're not bringing him over there for him to have a fighting chance when he gets into UK territory. I really believe that. And I don't think it's one of these Epstein situations. I think it's one of those, if he ends up disappearing or dying, I think that'll create what they don't want to happen with him being viewed as a martyr and potentially starting a revolution or something. Who knows? But to have those guys waste their resources and die or spend the next 20 years in jail, I think the elite that are pushing certain agendas and wanting a certain type of masculinity, like True said, to not take back control over certain systems again. Yeah, I really believe that these two guys are really in trouble. True, what you think?
Yeah, I think you're on point. A lot of times, and we're all from America. If you pay any type of attention, they do a smear campaign before they have evidence, and that's the way our propaganda works in this country. See, they don't need proof; they just need enough people to echo nonsense while they build a case. So it can be very fickle on evidence. But if enough, there's people who hate Andrew Tate, never listen to the man. They will literally say he's bad for society, but can't defend why, and this is just consistent across the board. The attack is from a media perspective. Let's echo the nonsense long enough, and then let's slap some egregious charges on it, whether they're true or not. And that's it. That's all they need. That's the game. Our fear mongering in this country is based around in a sense, keeping people in control, and the push for the current agenda of masculinity, femininity. Like you said, the UK is on steroids. It's a very feminized media presence in the world. They are working on equality times 10, and that equality is fine, but so Andrew Tate poses a threat for asking questions. He poses a threat on standing for something that is I guess considered somewhat of a remnants of the old school perspective. And he's unapologetic. And people don't like that. People don't like it when they don't like it. They like when you're successful. They don't like it when you're a man and successful, and you can't be boisterous. How dare you? Like, be quiet. So
listen, to put it frank for the audience or for your perspective, our platforms, or at least mine and Mr. Fantastic and even Darwin's, many of our platforms that you guys are watching right now, we would be arrested. Straight up. We would be arrested in the UK, which is hard to believe. And we're not even on the extreme side of what people talk about in these spaces, in these conversations. We would be arrested in the UK for the stuff when I did an episode on what's happening to white female teachers and why they sleeping with all the students, my ass would have been I'd have been locked up for something like that. As quiet as it kept. Like, so I think people who are unaware, or people who are unaware of truly how ideological some of these governments are, just because they're westernized, they don't realize that they still move very much like the non-westernized countries that you're convinced their governments are so corrupt. If they got a political agenda and you're considered a political enemy or a threat, it's a real thing. And real quick, I see we have about 250 people currently watching. If you have not done so, please make sure that y'all make sure that y'all share with at least 2 or 3 people, and feel free to hit the super chat if you have a question or comment or just want to show love. Dub Will 199, salute brothers. Shout out to the 478, appreciate you for that. And then Trackstar, $10. I've yet to see proof against the Tates. All these accusations and not one concrete, status of proof. They are trying to find something that sticks, just slides off. This just makes the governments look bad. Now I'll be the first one that's honest and say a lot of what's been covered and shown, like when we hear these high profile cases of, let's say, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, whatever, typically most of us don't know any of the evidence. We haven't either looked that deeply to it or it's been sealed. So I'm in the wait and see phase. I'm personally in the wait and see phase to kind of see what's the justification for all these new charges in the UK. Either they have something or they don't. But I will say this. It doesn't look good when they try to extradite you from 2 countries. Okay, so this is very different than like an internal thing that they just got you on. They're leaning on other countries' governments to send him back over and having to, in their worldview, some type of justification to explain that, why another country should even do something like that. So, I'm not saying it's a country wouldn't do that based on falsehoods. But I do think the way in which he's talked, the way in which he's carried himself, and how close he was blurring them lines when it came to talking about this whole 15, 16-year-old thing, it's opened up the door for the potential of like, well, if you're used to, 16 or blurring a lot, well, if you're cool with a 16-year-old, the idea that you're not cool with a 15-year-old, that goes out the window, number one. Like that kind of goes without saying. If you're cool with 16, 15 is not a stretch. It's just not a stretch. And the issue I'm having is when they mention the minors and potential videos and stuff relating to that, I mean, he's right in the territory. He's right in the territory where it's possible when you're talking on camera multiple times about wanting young ladies way under 18. And the idea, like in our worldview, we may be thinking, well, it's legal to do X, Y, and Z, but it may not be legal to distribute that stuff digitally. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, what were we about to say, Mr. Fantastic?
So I was gonna say that exactly. So even in the case of, like you said, I know this for a fact in America, even though the age of consent, and again, I'm saying this again, we're speaking from a legal standpoint, not moral, not whatever. We're just strictly speaking to it. No one here is condoning or supporting adult men dealing with underage girls. Okay. Just for so that.
First of all, the fact that we got to say that, because every time people speak on the topic, you're accused of liking young girls.
Yeah, we gotta say it, Doc. We gotta say it, man. You know what I'm saying, for the sake, because but hey, because a lot of people are ignorant. Like I said, most people do not know the vast majority of United States have age of consent under 18. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. But however it goes, right? Yeah, like you said, even though the age of consent is under 18, any type of adult filming activity is 18 regardless, like you said. So if they are doing that and they're able to prove that they had people under the age of 18, you know, participated in that activity, now that's producing inappropriate child material. And and like you said, with them, and I think too, you saying that this is why America is involved, because it's like, well, whoa. Now, if you just dealing with them, cool, fine. But if you're admitting to it, they have evidence of you doing this, especially in the wake of the Epstein situation. You, as Donald Trump, can't afford, you know what I'm saying, this twice. And then especially you protecting a man that where, hey, the government comes, and especially if the UK is bringing charges again. I don't know what the UK have, like you said, Jeff. None of us know. But what we know for sure is if the UK has got involved, there is something there. And most importantly, now you're going up against you. They're gonna have to pay hella money to fight the United States government to keep from getting extradited. And now you got to take all that damn money and fight the fucking whole government of London or of UK. Okay, 2 first world countries, 2 first world, and you're fighting the entire government. This is definitely serious, and none of us are saying we don't know. You know, of course, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, I guess. But trust and believe, if the United States is aiding in an extradition, something is there.
What y'all think about that in that argument?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You most definitely got to make a disclaimer that you're not championing or subscribing to any underage activities, whether it's off camera or on camera. But just to try to get away from that, man, there's really nothing I can confirm about legally until they start getting the caseload together. But I will say, in my whole entire life, 40 years, I've never seen any man who's dealing with a multitude of women that is also drinking and smoking and judgment is paired, not have a few mistakes or not, do something stupid while doing it. It's really, I'm not gonna say it's impossible to do that, but just trying to think about it, I don't see anybody being able to perfect it to where they don't make any mistakes whenever their judgment is impaired in dealing with women at this scale. So it just makes me curious to, like, okay, over X amount of years, how many times have you, beat at your chest thinking that you just impenetrable or whatever. You just can do whatever you want because you become powerful and you get all this money and this fame and this status, and then you got all these women coming after you, and then there's drugs and alcohol involved and all this other stuff. And, like, where's the limit? Like, how do you prevent from making any mistakes under that kind of pressure with that kind of power in your hands? I don't think I'm in my honest opinion, I don't think any man is capable of doing that in this world. I haven't seen any man be able to pull it off. We just seen we keep seeing representations of men in this status make mistakes, countless mistakes over and over every year. So I don't think he's an exception. I would like to think, but I just don't have enough history or any evidence of what I've visually been able to see and understand to think that he's been able to just evade it. You know what I mean?
I think it's an super chat.
Says Rochelle's, I think, and apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. Thank you for the $5. I sent you an email today about a video of how Korea and Japan have defeated feminism. One group gave up, another group, men's rights group, like feminism. Interesting. I need to look into that. Resend it if you haven't, so it can be at the top of my email there. But I do appreciate you for the $5. And what's going on, Mr. Obsidian himself?
Hey, what's going on, Jeff? What's going on, Darwin, Mr. Fantastic, and True Table? This is my first time meeting you. What's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? I see my man Jay is with us, so this is going to be a really good conversation. It's been a while, Jeff. You know this because you're in the Philadelphia area. My neighborhood in particular, I live within walking distance of Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania campus. West and South Philly has been greatly affected by the 4 microbursts, they call it, storms. Earlier this month, Saturday, July the 11th, we were without power We were without internet for about a whole week. It was very, very bad. Lots of flooding, trees down, cars smashed. I mean, it looked like Armageddon had arrived. It looked something out of the Bible. So we I'm still kind of traumatized by that, to tell you the truth. And coming out from under that, plus some other things that you guys are aware of, but the general public is not. We keep that in house. So I've been, dealing with that behind the scenes, but I'm very glad to be here tonight, especially given tonight's topic. I have a lot of thoughts to share on that. So I'm very happy to be here, and thank you all for having me on yet again.
Right, man. And Mimi Flo, what's going on, sis? Make sure you let your boy Anton know it's time for him to make it to the men's table. Got some questions for him, just see how he do in the gauntlet. And I tell your boy we want to talk to him. And Highway Skinny Man, he says Andrew had websites exploiting women. I can't rock with that. In fact, I want us to sit here for a second. Exploitation. I think that the definitions of rape, sexual assault, exploitation are expanding to things that may not actually apply. All right. And the reason why I say this is because the definition keeps shifting to whether or not a woman just wants you to get in trouble. That's what that's what
the courts is for, Jeff. Yeah. That's exactly what the courts is for. The courts are there to find out the facts. What does exploit? Is there a legal definition for that term? I mean, words have meanings, and there are legal definitions for these terms. So if we're going to talk about exploitation of women, whether you like Andrew Tate or not, because I think that's a big part of this issue here, Jeff, is a lot of people have strong feelings about Andrew Tate. And I'm not saying people shouldn't. People have a right to their opinions. People have a right to their feelings about the man or anyone. But that's different from a legal designation or a legal definition. We are not here to discuss whether we all like or dislike Andrew Tate. That's not the issue. The issue is, has there been a crime committed? And if so, what are the facts? The appropriate forum to determine these matters are the courts. Now, in his case, these are international courts, British court now, and before that, 4 years running, the Romanian courts. I am not able to discuss those things. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I learned in British or Romanian law. Here in the United States, however, I'll say this: you have a constitutional right to a fair and speedy trial where you face your accusers. Okay, you have that is a constitutional right. Okay,
I think that's everywhere but California, believe it or not. I think that's everywhere. I think that's everywhere but California. California, right. No, California. That's not a joke. They've created the laws where women who are involved in these cases don't have to report. They can write a written testimony. They cannot report. And I think at worst,
that's against the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution. According to the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution, you must be able to face your accuser in open court.
And I'm telling you,
that's unconstitutional.
My question is this. If sexual exploitation is a crime, isn't whoever is orchestrating and running and backing and formatting OnlyFans sexually exploiting women?
Very good question.
This is why I said the definition shifts to whether or not a woman felt like she was exploited. Once you see that, then it makes sense why they can jump through hoops and make it stick, because there is no legal parameters. Like if a woman regrets what she did, that's now considered her withdrawal of consent and her now feeling like she was exploited or taken advantage of.
Years after the fact. Remember, the new charges against the Tate brothers, it's not just Andrew, it's his brother Tristan Tate as well. The new charges, and I read these carefully over the weekend. And after I was like, something tells me if I know Jeff, he's going to want to talk about that. And sure enough, boom. So I carefully read them through, like 38 new additional charges from the UK now. And these are, looking at the timeline, from the year 2010 to the year 2017. So let's take a look at that. It's 2026 right now. So you're looking at charges anywhere from 9 to 16 years old. Are you kidding me?
Well,
are you freaking kidding me? Again, this is British UK law, so it's not American law. But imagine, I mean, we saw this before. Bill Cosby was dealing with nonsensical charges reaching back 4 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, this is the
thing.
Hold on real quick. True, Mr. Fantastic, and then AJ, man, you can hop on in. What's going on, AJ?
No worries.
Go ahead, True.
Yeah, I hear the fellas, and I like to have honest conversations. I would like to believe that we're smart enough to understand that America does not function off of morality, nor does it function off of honesty. So the law, as it may be, like you said, you can list it, you can spit off the SRC codes and things of that manner. We got to live in reality. The agendas that they position now is all about attention in media, ratings, narrative, propaganda, and profit. That's it. Justice has not been something we've seen in years. So I don't see there to be where anybody can actually trust that the government is executing from a place of justice and immorality. That I have not seen it. What seems to be the common practice is the moment you get out of line to where you're disruptive and you're male, because you guys use the proper word of exploitation. I would love to see where we can point exploitation when it comes to us, because there is child support cases that are astronomical. There is men that get taken advantage of all the time by the same system that you say, but when it's non-exploitative or based in some level of law. But it's something about now that because we have women about in a conversation, and then we tie the one thing that is our, I guess, male weakness or species weakness is sex. It becomes problematic. This is just the new bag because they can't get you on the corner no more. They're not pulling us over and knocking down the trap houses no more. What's the one thing that they can continue to get men on? It's sex. This has been going on for a long time. Prominent men, not just Andrew Tate. Forget Andrew Tate. Look at anything. All men that have media presence, the one thing they slapping on you current day is sexual charges. Bill Cosby, I'm not saying he didn't do, but it just.
Well, hold on a second, because in the case of Bill Cosby, and this is a statement of fact, that was prosecutorial misconduct, which is the reason why his case was overturned, because it was prosecutorial misconduct. It was shown that the prosecutor had a vested interest in trying to go after Cosby, even though they had made a previous agreement that his statements made in civil would not go over in the criminal. So it was proven that it was a prosecutorial misconduct, and his case was overturned. Moreover, I would say, and it's not a perfect one-to-one, but it goes to your point, True Table, Sean P. Diddy Combs. Whether you agree or disagree with him, whether you think he's a great guy or he's the devil incarnate, one thing we know was certain: the facts came out in his case that he was not the, no disrespect, Darwin, bruiser that we was all made out to be.
Wait a minute. Why'd you use that brother's name? Hold on.
All 4 of them coming. All 4 of them coming. They right in my face. They coming in my fucking face, bro.
Nah, we found that.
Fuck. What the fuck are you?
My bad, brother. You can't use that man nickname like that. That's crazy. Over a Diddy description? Why would
they tried to make it out that Diddy was this, massive abuser. Women, come to find out, you get Cassie on the stand, you get a couple other women on the stand. They were there for the money. They were there for the good time. They were there for the freaking parties and all the rest of it. It wasn't that Diddy was holding a Sig Sauer to these women's head and making them do this. The trial, in my opinion, the trial of Sean P. Diddy Combs goes to your point, True Table. It was a morality play. It wasn't what the facts was. It was, he's such a bad man, but it ended up backfiring because Cassie, these other women, under oath, admitted that they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
They wanted what they had to offer. So this idea that Andrew Tate, don't know much about his brother as much, so we'll focus on him. That Andrew Tate somehow has to force women to do something. Let me tell you something, man. I was going back and forth with a white lady about this last week, and she's going on and on about the manosphere. And I demanded that she give me chapter and verse and list the names of these individuals in the manosphere that she's got a problem with. And so she mentioned, the usual suspects, Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate. I said, let me tell you something. Fresh and Fit now, but what, for the better part of 5 years, night in and night out, their studio is jam-packed full of women. They can't get rid. They got to throw women out of the studio. They got to kick them out. They can't get enough of them in the place. They going.
Yeah. I've seen it in person. There's a lot of them.
Every time Andrew Tate get on the tape, we all remember when he did the interview with Just Pearly Things and Brittany Renner. We all remember when he went viral with the one lady he was talking. I can't remember her name. Every time he turned around, there are women there that want to be there.
Nadia Khan giving him the eye.
All these people, every single time he's got to beat these women off with a stick. I said to that white lady, I said, let me tell you something. If this is your idea of the problematic state of the manosphere, then the manosphere has won, because those women are going. They going every single time. They going. So that's your proof. It's like what that man said in The Princess Bride, Ignacio. You keep using that word. I do not think you understand what that word really means. You keep using that word because these women are going.
I think
they going.
I think the difference, the key difference, because I did bring up the comparison between OnlyFans and Andrew Tate running his own little thing or whatever you want to call it. The reason why they don't call it exploitation for the OnlyFans is because you're giving adults a platform so they can upload their own individual content, have control over their own intellectual property, and monetize it. What they're trying to accuse Tate of is a coercion. Meaning having control over there, forcing them to do stuff. But
here's the problem.
It's only one type of content.
The corn stars, the actual corn stars, a lot of them don't actually own the content either.
Correct.
And many of them sign over their rights, and they can't redistribute those things. So I think what's happening is we're trying to intellectually do the mental gymnastics to explain how they're basically doing the same thing. They're basically doing the same thing, but here's the two main differences, I think, Darwin, which you're actually talking about. A corporation like OnlyFans, it's structurally designed to actually protect itself pretty well. It probably has age authentication, stuff like that. The people that work for OnlyFans are probably having no actual contact or physical contact with the actual performers. So which means that you're not going to have sex with, there's just certain things that's just not going to be there. It's probably likely that some of the girls he was dealing with, some of the girls who he engaged with also engaged in that type of material. And when you distribute that stuff and they say it, and again, the reason why the exploitation question is even, the reason why we have to say, like, what does exploitation even mean anymore? My argument is, if you got on a flight, if you looked at the deal, you agreed to the deal, you took the tickets, you arrived on the plane, you went over there and you stayed over there and you performed, and you're no longer performing currently. It's very, very, now people could say, well, he could have raped them at any time. Of course, he could have exploited them at any time. Of course. But this is the whole girls going up on trips and going to hotel rooms with men and acting like they don't know what's going on.
Exactly. It's
right?
Me Too all over again.
Yeah.
It's Harvey Weinstein all over again. Now all of a sudden these women don't understand what it is when they go up to Harvey Weinstein's hotel room. Now they don't know what it's all about. Come on, man.
I don't think it's that simple. I think in this particular case, when I mentioned coercion, I mean I would say at any given point from the flight, and I think you just touched on it, from the time of penetration or whatever the hell you want to call it. If the woman is able to say no or say no, she's able to give consent or remove consent at any given time. It's not that she's doing that. In this particular case, is, do you have the proof? Do you have the receipts? Do you have text messages? Do you have emails? Do you have recordings? Do you have witness testimony? And I don't believe that any DA or attorney or prosecutor is going to take such a case like this without having those findings. And if somebody's able to provide those findings, then you got an argument in court.
If there's
I
one,
don't think they did.
hold on real quick, and then I want Mr. Fantastic and AJ to jump in as well. One, there's been plenty of prosecutors that went off far less. Number two, if the government, the governor, the mayor, the president, if the powers that be want that prosecutor to do or not do something, what do you think prosecutors are going to do? So this is the whole concept of there's been people and we've seen cases of men get charges with video. We saw Jonathan Majors running from the person who was chasing him and him end up with charges. So I think what True is saying is real, where the laws can say one thing, the spirit of the law means something, and how the law is actually being exacted, how it's actually being administered. They're high profile. Okay. Cristiano Ronaldo, we all just, for those who paid attention to the World Cup.
Yeah, they won. Spain won.
No, Spain won. He's from Portugal. But Cristiano Ronaldo is arguably the most famous person currently in the world. And a lot of people that don't watch soccer don't realize how well known and how famous this dude actually is. 400 or 500 million people follow this dude. Like it's ridiculous, right? And he had allegations.
Yeah.
Where he's got models, he's got women. When people talk about how big this person is versus that person, take Cristiano Ronaldo and walk him outside next to anybody outside of a hotel or a downtown area anywhere in the world and see what happens. Women in the thousands are throwing themselves at him whenever they see him.
Jeff,
and
he's
been accused. And he's been accused.
So the point you're trying to make is that depending on your status and power, the powers that be, the government can insulate you and protect you, regardless of whether you're right or wrong. I agree with that.
Oh, they can target you. They can insulate you from crimes. So when we talk about Diddy as an example, people are saying he's doing stuff wrong and he should get penalized now. A lot of these people knew this all this time.
Yes,
until he wasn't used
to
to
the 90s. Yep.
Right?
Correct.
Exactly. So AJ, come on in here, man. What you think, bro?
Yeah, Ronaldo's so famous that he lives in in Riyadh or in UAE, or he lives in the Middle East, and it was illegal for a man to live with someone who's not his wife. They changed the law because he's not married to that woman yet. They changed the law of the country so him and his girl can live together. That's how famous he is,
Yeah, change the law. Yeah.
But I was saying that this whole empowered victimhood narrative that goes on with these modern women, right? Because they want to do the whole sexual revolution and OF and all this other stuff and talk about how empowered they are, but then be able to have that victimhood trump card anytime that they want to pull it, right? Just bam, And then I remember back in the 90s, because I grew up in the 80s, it wasn't often that you had to have a trial where they had to consider moving the trial because it was so in the news that it was that the jury couldn't be impartial. You guys remember that they were talking about that with the OJ case? That was the very first time that I heard that. It's like, can we find jurors in this jurisdiction that can be impartial? Well, now between Tate's social media presence, he's gone from being like red pill to being Muslim to he was a reality show person back in the day. So he's always done these different narratives and all sorts of stuff where it's kind of impossible. Now every case has the public opinion now. Now the court of public opinion and the regular courts are linked. And you can't separate the two. In this case, people are going to have a really difficult time looking through the smoke screen of the court of the public opinion and actually looking at the facts.
Yeah.
It's just the world we live in now. So.
Mr. Fantastic, I know you wanted to jump in there. What were you about to say?
Yeah. Man. Again, like when you start playing all of these different rules and you changing the rules just to catch men up, I think that's has been seen in the Bill Cosby case, even the R. Kelly case. I don't think a lot of people remember they did a overall thing. I forget what they called it, to change the statute of limitations overall. It's like,
yeah.
They just had the same thing with the case that got Donald Trump caught up, right? So what they did was somehow, some way, they pretty much took away statute of limitations, and women were able to, say he touched me, he took me, he did whatever, and in these incredibly liberal jurisdictions, and get guilty verdicts over nothing other than a woman's
word.
Yeah, nothing than a word, no evidence, no video, no DNA, no nothing. So this is the time, and I say as men, bro, unfortunately we should have pushed back against that stuff like that, because again, of course, there are such thing as victims, but it's not only women. You'll be surprised how many men are victims of SA, but that never gets talked about, right? But we only care and focus on that comes from the women, and the sad part about it is women do lie. Okay, all women are not telling the truth. Specifically in the Bill Cosby case, it was discovered that a lot of those women lied. They just jumped on the bandwagon because it was a money grab. Same thing in the R. Kelly case. Not necessarily that anyone lied, but came to find out that the parents pretty much encouraged their children, their daughters, to do the things that they did, right? And again, we're not taking up for any of the people that were found guilty of what they were doing. Same thing with Harvey Weinstein. These women were consented to doing what they had to do in order to get these movie roles, but she sucks as an actress, and now 30 years later, buys remorse, and now he took it, right?
Yeah.
So once you understand, this is the climate we're in. It is you have to definitely watch your own six and protect yourself at all times. But at the same time, when we start talking about coercion in the Tate situation, if and whenever you're talking about underage girls and the production of anything digital, I think that's where that pretty much everyone leaves that conversation, and no one can or should support it. Now, of course, we this is all alleged, and this is just speculation. We haven't seen any evidence to those cases, but as long as the woman is benefiting, and there's no man directly, this came into what we knew as the PIMP culture and the death of that. So as to where once before in time, that was one thing, but then once they had the human trafficking enhancement, it's pretty much made it one and the same. If you were caught doing that, it was pretty much a death sentence, right? So this is why that, and then it gave all of the power to the women as to where the women can operate on themselves and be sex workers, and it be not only be sex workers, but it be champion. Because remember, when they started doing the slut walks, sex work is real work and all these different things, and so again, there was a whole campaign to support and women, and then keep women, and a lot of things. And I remember City, and we talked about this when he was back on YouTube. A lot of people forget that the great former vice president and presidential candidate Kamala Harris was for the decriminalization of prostitution for women. Right, that was one of her campaigns. Right. So again, so it's crazy when we you actually look at this thing, and it's okay for sex to be sold, okay, but it's not okay for it to be bought by men.
And real quick, we have a couple super chats in the building. One Kim again, thank you for the 5. Being far, if it's true, the UK should punish him the same along the line as its ex-prince. What punishment is the ex-prince going to receive? Nothing. Well, I mean, it's about who you connected to. I think I think the illusion of thinking that the laws are really designed for the citizenry and to protect everybody equally. I think we got to get past that fairy tale. And I think the reason why this conversation matters is, let's say he's done nothing wrong. He's literally done everything by the books, legally speaking. The way in which he had so many women around doing certain acts, either to him or on camera, he increased the odds exponentially for something like this to happen. As rich as he was, if he never got on social media, is a 99% chance that we would never have had any of this stuff happen. The thing that I think drew him and a lot of young guys and young boys to him is the lifestyle, all the women, all the flash and everything else. That's the other side of the coin when it comes to Me Too that I've been warning guys about. Every woman that you sleep with now and going forward, and if you've ever slept with, at any point in time can switch up on you.
Yeah.
So when you increase your body count because you're just trying to run through, you can't screen all these women. You can't do background checks on all these. you don't know the names of 100 women that you slept with. Promise you. And the guys of today, if they know what they're doing, they cleared 100 women 10 years ago. So when you have something to lose as a man and you're making the money he's making, most of these men, their downfall, like Obsidian said, it's been about women. And True said it's women. Women's been their downfall. And I think as guys, we got to get smarter. I'm not saying go monk mode, but y'all guys got to get smarter when it comes to this women's situation. Geoverse, thank you for $2. Hate Tate, but are not condemning OnlyFans. He's supporting that heavy. Yeah, man. But again, I think what Darwin alluded to is correct. Is depending on who does it and some people are allowed to do it and others aren't. And the idea of like OnlyFans having to pay a consequence for the stuff that happens and maybe young girls figuring out a way to get on there, I'm sure it happens. And OnlyFans isn't going to pay the consequences for that. Individual dudes trying to move like OnlyFans probably will. And I think we got to come to grips.
I get what you're saying, but I think even if OnlyFans, like if anybody's a handler or anything like that for a particular women or group of women, even if they start using coercion and you could prove it, I think they would be facing the same issue Andrew Tate. Like again, I don't have any reason to remove this common denominator that I'm discovering as coercion. I'm not saying it's a sure thing that he did it. I'm just saying this is what he's facing.
But this was my question I'm asking you. When you say the element of coercion, what me and True and maybe some of the others on the panel, maybe even Mr. Fantastic is saying is they can call it coercion without there being proof of it.
Yeah.
They can call it exploitation without it actually being that. The things that you're saying they need proof of, they can just decide it is enough.
I don't agree with
perception
that.
Perception is reality when it comes to that. It's too fluid.
Every guy that's in prison isn't because they could prove he did it about any crime. Like that's reality 101.
Well, I'm not making a claim that every guy was put in prison or not put in prison without evidence. I'm saying in this particular matter, I can only talk about one matter at a time because I think every matter has different nuances.
Yeah.
But this one in particular, I don't believe that Andrew Tate is going to go down just because of word of mouth. I think that they're going to have to actually show receipts.
Which I don't think they have. And I'll tell you the reason why I don't think they have them. I don't think that they have these receipts because let's go back to the Romanian situation. That, correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline. My understanding is that that's 2022 when those initial charges first came. The pandemic was still on when those charges came down. Now, so if I'm fuzzy on the math here. It's been it's been at least 4 years. It's been at least that long.
Yeah, 2022.
And they've been shuttling him and Tristan Tate. They've been shuttling the Tate brothers back and forth in Romania, back and forth. They hold him in a lockup for a night or two, and then they bring him back, and it's de facto house arrest. They've basically been on house arrest for 4 years. Now, again, I don't know the Romanian system, but that will be completely unconstitutional here. There'll be all kind of lawsuits breaking out doing something like you. You cannot hold a man and not charge him and not bring him to court. You just can't do that. Okay, so that had me thinking right off the rip. If they're holding those brothers for that long under house arrest, they can't possibly have a case.
Yeah, in Romania, you can arrest them on suspicion and have them in jail while you build the case. Whereas here, you have to build the case, get the warrant, and then make the arrest. So that was the major difference in American law versus the Romanian law. They can say we're detaining you under the suspicion while they gather the evidence, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're doing in this situation. We're trying to apply American law and American standards and ethics to other countries. Yeah. And I don't know if that's the same thing in London. And that's why I say the biggest thing for them to do is to beat the case here, because America has pretty much agreed to extradition and support in the UK. They know for sure once they get out of here and you're back in Europe that all of the odds are stacked against them. Especially like you say, and if you're going from the minor leagues to the big leagues versus the UK legal system.
Liberal.
Hold on, wait, are y'all making a claim that in Europe that they don't have to have the receipts to prove that he coerced?
I'm saying, depending on the government, absolutely they don't need it.
Yeah.
And when I'm saying remember when I said at the beginning about their speech laws? They're actually being enforced.
Oh yeah. Not only there, throughout the EU. It's like
Europe. Yes, I'm saying Europe. The European
the
Union as a
EU.
whole. Everybody knows, and especially if you're talking about countries like Romania and a lot of the Slavic countries. Those countries are considered extremely corrupt. Right.
Yeah,
That's
Ukraine.
where.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so if they don't need any evidence to throw this man under the jail, why it took 10 years to get evidence? If
Well,
they're not
one,
going
we're
to use
going
the
to
evidence.
extradite him because he wasn't just staying in the UK. He was in a whole different country. And number two, I think what happens in these conversations is people try to treat him in black and white ways, where it's like, oh, we don't even have any charges. We don't have anything to throw at you. We're just going to arrest you and keep you for the next 30 years. That's a very extreme example. What it is he's done enough where there's a probability that it's possible and that the public is now on the side. And it's like, even again, all the way up to him being arrested, none of us have seen any evidence for why he's been arrested and on house arrest all the way up until this point. So so people are like, what do we need to see so we can prove, look at what they've done already, how much money he spent, and none of us can pull up a video or a link that shows he's actually guilty of anything. That for some 20, what did they say? What did you say Obsidian it was from 20?
For the brand new charges,
2012 from 2012. Yeah,
so
April
38 charges
2012.
for the UK case.
Yeah,
and
so
for the Romanian case, I think it's like over 20. So all told, we look at. I mean, this is approaching.
He's been arrested. He's been locked
charges.
up.
Like it's a ridiculous number of charges.
He's been incarcerated with his brother in Romania, and he's been under all these different restrictions, and that's been 4 years now, and we still don't have what we're saying. Well, that's what they need in order to do certain things to them. That's clearly not.
Well, it sounds like, and just forgive me if I'm missing it. But it sounds like every time they brought the Tate brothers in, they actually didn't have enough evidence to hold them.
Correct.
Yes,
correct. Yeah, that was in Romania, though.
That was in Romania.
That was Romania. So now you got the UK that's involved, and not only that, the UK has had to provide a certain amount of something for the US to finally agree. Because remember, they've pretty much had no issues or problems, and Andrew Tate was bragging about the freedom they had coming in and out of America, you know what I'm saying? Pretty much, all these different things. So for that to change that drastically overnight, and the FBI to take them into custody and be like, hey, we're going to extradite your ass to the UK, something happened. I don't know what it is, but in order for them to be like, there's going to be too much public pressure and opinion of how could you guys, you know what I'm saying? It's something there, I promise you, because if that was the case, they would have never been allowed to come to America in the first place, so they could just stay out of it. And once they were here, it would have stayed that way, and they would have denied the extradition request.
True. What you thinking though?
Well, hold on real quick. I want to believe y'all. I'm going to do some research, but I'm going to pull back. I just don't see. I haven't seen anything, and I guess I got to pay attention to the laws over there in the UK. But it just doesn't seem like that makes sense that you can convict somebody without beyond reasonable doubt or having any evidence.
Well, hold on. They do that here. Hold on. The government has done that to citizens, brother.
Yeah, here.
In the UK has a lot more.
In the UK, more
draconian laws.
Okay, well, they're far worse. And like I said,
I haven't seen that either. But
well, it's
I haven't
documented.
seen the conviction without evidence.
It's been documented, bro.
Being
People
proven
are
guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
Railroaded.
Hold on. I want to ask this question. So, Bill Cosby, as a great example of this, Darwin, was he incarcerated?
Yeah, he was incarcerated.
Of all the women pointing all the way back to the, I believe, late 80s and early 90s, what evidence do you think for these 20 plus women that were accused of, what do you think they actually had as evidence? Pre-cell phones, pre-text messages,
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe witness testimonies.
Well, Darwin, the thing is, when Obsidian brought this to light, it was illegal and unethical from a legal standpoint. The case should have never been heard. So that in itself is a proof. Is proof positive of what we're talking about. The Bill Cosby case. The Trump case is another thing. What's her name? King or whatever crazy name is.
But they moved the statute of limitations.
Yeah, they pushed back the statute of limitations just so they could get the conviction of a woman that claimed Trump was somewhere in a random building and he forced himself upon her. The evidence that she provided, the testimony, just real quick, Dar, the testimony she provided directly went against things that people could prove there was no way. She claimed that it was an item of clothing or something that was in the situation that wasn't even made at the time frame that she claimed. This is factual. So if and when the government...
I'm not disagreeing with what y'all are saying, but that just sounds to me like witness testimony.
But look at
all I'm doing is making a claim that I don't believe that you can. I don't fundamentally believe that you cannot put somebody behind bars without.
They used to hang black men.
What country are you
talking about?
Yeah, Brian Banks.
The Constitution hasn't changed, brother.
Remember Brian Banks?
Okay, I know they used to hang people. That's beside the point, though.
You can't.
No, hold on. AJ and True, I want y'all to jump in as well. What I'm questioning you on, Darwin, is do you actually believe that there could be political agendas or government officials that can overstep the legal parameters to get somebody?
I believe that's a possibility, but I haven't heard y'all give me a case where it had no evidence and no witness testimony.
Yeah.
Well, I just gave you the
hold on, wait a minute. What y'all just stated, what you just stated with Trump, it sounded like a witness testimony. I'm not saying I disagree with y'all. All I'm saying is my original premise is that you got to have some type of evidence to be able to convict somebody and prove that they were guilty beyond reasonable doubt. And all of y'all are doing is just telling me about witness testimony.
Yeah, witness testimony doesn't usually establish reasonable doubt. That's why there's so many men who look like us in the news the last 10, 15 years that have been freed from prison because they said that they essayed some woman of 45 years ago, and then they did the DNA, and there's no chance he was there. Every other week, there's a black man
y'all are making
who look like Morgan Freeman now because he's so old because he did 45 years in jail.
But
the DNA said
what he's talking about is a wrongful conviction. Even in the wrongful conviction, you still had to have a witness testimony or some false evidence.
No, hold on real quick. What AJ said was such an excellent point. AJ, I appreciate you for bringing this up. You were saying the reason why they ended up getting the jail time was because there was quote unquote proof. It was evidence. What we're saying is the number one exonerated group is black men in the country. And they're getting exonerated because people are coming up. They're I forget what it's called when they take back their testimony, when recanting their testimony, when DNA evidence proves that they're innocent. What we're saying is the evidence that you're claiming is evidence is often being proven more than any other demographic is not actual evidence. It wasn't real.
They have to have the Innocence Project. There's an organization called the Innocence Project.
You're saying that it was
black
false.
Men wrongly confused.
Listen, what you're saying is that it was evidence, but it wasn't the right evidence. It wasn't truthful evidence. It wasn't the evidence that they found out that that it was false, but nevertheless that it was evidence enough to put them behind the bars, regardless whether it was the right stuff, the right DNA, or the right fingerprint, or regardless. I'm arguing that you have to have something. If you even make the shit up, you still got to have something to fight it. That's my argument.
Yeah, but
y'all talking about whether somebody was wrongly convicted, somebody lied.
There's a standard of evidence, though.
We're not talking about somebody lying on a testimony or lying in court. I agree that you can lie on somebody. You can bring false evidence in and put people behind the bars. My argument is that you can't put people behind the bars without evidence at all, regardless whether it's true or not.
Yeah, but that's a fundamental. It's a falsehood, bro. If the evidence is false or made up or not, it's not evidence. That means that proves our point. That means you're deliberately poisoning the case as to where you're presenting things in a way that you know is not true.
Right. It's called
you're
corruption.
presenting it anyway. Yes, that's corruption. Yes. That's not evidence, though.
But
okay. I think we misconstruing the terms. I get it. Once you find out that it's corruption taking place, then all the evidence that you submitted is redacted as not evidence. But I'm talking about initially.
So therefore,
In
but listen,
order to prosecute
hold on,
somebody,
wait.
you need
But listen,
something.
yeah, but listen what you're saying. You keep saying it needs something. So, but if the proper things happen and the proper legal procedure and investigations are done from the get-go from the onset to, hey, this evidence that's being provided is false, there's never a case and a conviction. So that's what's killing your argument.
Yeah,
Another piece I want to
throw out there real quick was there's also this thing called like guilty by association.
Yes.
Where just being in the vicinity, being around somebody, you can be arrested. You walk into a venue with 3 guys, a melee ensues. You wearing a certain color, or you walking out with people who were a part of it or whatever. The police pull up and they say that group. Now all 3 of y'all get arrested. All of y'all sitting in jail. All of y'all facing time. Allen Iverson actually went through this, believe it or not. Right before when he was about to get drafted, right?
Bowling alley.
The bowling alley.
Yep.
It was a brawl, and he was about to, and he had to get I forget what
he had to get well, not he wasn't
probation.
part, but basically the governor of Virginia,
the governor had to step in. Yes.
On his behalf. Yeah.
And the point I'm making is there was no evidence that he specifically did anything, and he was about to do like a 20-year bid, something crazy.
Let me ask you a question. Was there a witness testimony against Allen Iverson in court?
Yeah.
Here's the one problem I'm going to make.
No, it's either yes or no.
No, but and I'm going to answer it. The reason why I'm saying it's a yes, but if that one person is saying a room full of people did it, what we're arguing is what you keep claiming as evidence to justify. We're saying is it's hearsay.
Yeah,
it's not actual evidence, and that's the piece that I'm wondering.
Listen,
like,
I think we agree on that. All I'm making a claim is that if you take, for example, you take the Central 5 Jargon case. Clearly, those guys didn't do it, but at some point, somebody fabricated something to lock them up.
Yeah, they're forced testimony. They gave them
my whole argument is something has to be produced to the court to get the judge to say guilty. And whatever that thing is, what we're doing is fighting whether that evidence or whatever that is presented is true or not, and can be later on found out to be false. I agree with y'all that at later, a conviction can be overturned. But I'm saying originally to put somebody behind bars, you got to have something. If I need True to come in there and lie, I need him to come in there and lie so I can put Fantastic in jail. If I can't get True to come in there and lie, I can't put Fantastic in jail. That's my whole argument.
But I guess
I'm saying I don't see them putting Fantastic in jail without me having somebody come produce something, whether it's true or false.
Hold on, AJ. Go ahead, True.
I think you're giving too much faith to the legal system, and it's unfortunate. I'd like to offer you this. The design of the judicial system is to produce profit. Regardless, what they sell the public is we're producing justice, but that's a lie. That hasn't been something we've done in quite some time. So when you got a high profile case like a Tate, a Cosby, or anybody of that manner, everybody's involved and everybody's getting paid for this particular attention that is occurring. And I think as civilians, we don't understand that this is a racket. So you're saying that they need evidence or proof or something solid. That is not true, my brother. What is occurring is that the moment that they get a big fish ticket item person who draws attention, that's money. That's how that works now. Now that we got social media, cameras, witness, as you say, witness testimonies, my brother, the law is a joke. That's just.
Well, you just made my point when you said now that we have these particular items to produce in court. You just said that now that we have cameras, witness testimony, you just made my argument.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I want to say this. It's just
what I'm saying is that some of those.
Yeah, he's going in and out. What True is saying that I not get what you're arguing for, because it's like they have to put something on paper to justify why they're locking you up.
It has to be something on there. You cannot walk this man into the court in jail without having something to produce.
True. But this is the problem. If their agenda is to lock you up, then it doesn't matter if they even have actual evidence, if it's true or not. They're just going to come up with something to justify why you're there.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And yes,
and most importantly, most of these cases don't even make it a trial. Most of these cases are plea deals.
Yes.
Most of these convictions are plea deals, and so you see that United States government versus John Doe, and you have you're going up against the federal fucking government. Most people fold, be it drugs, be it fraud, be it whatever it is. The vast majority of these cases is never even heard by a jury, and it's only the judge and the prosecution and so on and so forth.
Well, let me ask you a question, Fantastic. What's the most significant thing you can give to the defense lawyer to get him to take a plea?
To the defense lawyer?
If I'm the prosecutor and I'm defending,
there's several.
I'm prosecuting you. You're True Table's lawyer. And I want you to plea out. I want to see if I can get you to plea out and take this guilty. What do I have to do? What kind of
fear of God in
that we need to have?
The amount of years.
Present to you.
You
like, you know what?
Years,
I'm gonna go back to my client and tell him
the amount of years. So the amount of years, the amount of years that what he can afford, which most people cannot. So it does, freedom does cost.
If he has
the quality
losing,
the quality of lawyer that it is it worth you even fighting it, so on and so forth? It's way more things that is the answer to your question. It's not one thing. Irrefutable evidence is going to be probably last on the list, Darwin. I'm telling you, it don't even make to that point.
What if I told you that a prosecutor bring you something? Hey, look, we got you on camera. We got you doing this. We got this person. We got.
I agree, hands down. Hey, if you have clear evidence, be it DNA, be it photo, be it whatever, to where it's you did it, and I know because more likely than not, I've talked about this with my client that he actually did it, and you have the evidence to support it. By all means, take the plea. But what I'm saying though, Darwin, it doesn't even make it to that case because most people can't afford a lawyer good enough. Even
or they're too scared, or they're too scared, and they plead something that they didn't do. But there's something that we haven't talked about, and you remember, guys, DAs get elected, states attorneys get elected. So you think that if Jeff is running for DA, let's just say that he's trying to get elected again, and something like this Tate case jumps up in his city, you don't think that he's going to do everything in his power to try and get him convicted to make himself look good so he can get reelected? So he can have this win in his belt and be like, see, I'm the man, and get more political power? You know what I'm saying? Governors do this, mayors do this, DAs do this.
More than
political capital that you could get from being the one who took down Trump, who took down Tate, who took down, is just off the charts.
Yeah, speaking of governors, for whatever reason, Ron DeSantis, he denounced Tate even being in Florida. He told him, we don't even want you here. He said, we'll do any and everything we can do to support you know what I'm saying, you being locked up and arrested and so on and so forth. So now I'm not saying at Ron DeSantis level he's privy to evidence and information that Tate me be actually, dealing in these things. But as we know, propaganda is the most important thing in anything, right? Especially at this level. So if you can get the people to turn against Andrew Tate and feel like he's this, this deviant when it comes to underage girls in America, it's over with. He has no chance.
And when it came to evidence mattering or not mattering, Epstein files revealed everything I needed to know about what they do and don't care about.
Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, the rates of which men are being proven that they were actually innocent. What Darwin was saying about they'll come up with something that's legit. But I think the quote unquote coming up with something doesn't actually have to be anything. I think it's one of those where, like Mr. Fantastic said, there's just more factors than if they have something or not. Like if you're the type of man where image is number one for your industry, you'll agree, accept, settle a whole lot of things versus a man that's got nothing to lose. So they do typically need a little bit more than just even the scrutiny of the accusation of having no proof other than somebody just accusing you of something. I'm like, yeah, they typically, it's just the idea that, if there's an agenda out for whatever reason, it's unfortunate, but, in cases like this, I do wonder, like you all have said, I want to see the evidence. I want to see, like Darwin said, what's the thing that UK did and presented that actually warranted the U.S. being able to move to this degree as far as, taking this leap. So for us
Jeff,
to kind of,
do you remember you had said with the Shannon Sharp thing that he had probably settled to keep more of his personal life from getting out there?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a big deal. He said, I want this to go away because I don't want any more of my personal life getting out there because my image is already ruined enough. So
Exactly. It happens all the time.
Did they have evidence in that case?
Well, I'll say this. I don't know. I haven't looked enough into the case, but what I will say about the second part related to that is there's certain jurisdictions, and I'm not sure if that applied in this case, where if a crime has actually been committed, they won't care if you settle or not. They'll try to proceed with following through on it regardless. So this is one of those situations, again, where it's like, I think a lot of guys, there's prosecutors that will move on trying to prosecute somebody even if a deal's been struck between the actual parties involved. They'll still proceed.
I thought they had Shannon Sharp on there cussing the white girl out.
Cussing what?
Ooh.
I thought they had Shannon Sharp on audio talking to the to the girl.
Yeah, to the girl. Yeah, he did. That's what her defense team used that, and Shannon Sharp claimed that it was redacted or changed. It was like clips versus the whole audio, but that was never provided. So that helped sway that case a lot for him to end up settling because they put so much public pressure on the situation. Yeah. So even what you saying that Darwin, that in a case like you saying, you start doing that, and like Jeff said, listen, there are some cases where not only the prosecution say, "Nah, fuck this, we ain't even offering a deal. We want maximum time. We taking it to trial for as Jay was saying, be it political purposes or so on and so forth, or principle." And then even if you do that, the judge can say, "No, F that. Nope. I don't agree with what you guys agree with."
There's been ladies who have recanted. Let me just, there has been people who have made an accusation, recanted, and the prosecutors continued and proceeded with trying to and getting those guys time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so when you say the yes, the state will take over. The state, like this actually happens. I know this is crazy to believe, but there are literally men sitting in jail over cases where people have recanted even prior to them walking through the jailhouse doors. That's actually real, even to this day, because of the way that their laws or jurisdictions are set up. This is a legit thing. Growth Talk, thank you for the $5. The great American philosopher Umia Obsidian Ali once said, "Rules for thee and not for me." Absolutely. And that's the other thing. I think we forgot that other missing piece. If you got the money and the connections, the rules don't even apply. Like it's not, it depends on who you know, who you're connected to. Growth Talk, thank you again for the 10. I've been an Army paralegal 18 years. We've had concrete evidence and someone has walked. We've had zero evidence and the charges stuck. The whole legal process has one major flaw. People. Shout out to Army paralegal, 18 years. I appreciate you that, man. And then real quick, y'all, because I know we're about to wrap things up. Did y'all hear about the case with the with the lady that found a 20-plus-year-old grown man under her daughter's bed that she allowed and blew him away?
Yep.
What do you think about this case, man?
I'm not familiar with that one. I haven't heard about it, so I'm not
able
to comment.
I mean, it's simple. The woman, I believe, I don't have a lot of information, but I believe that this young boy, I don't think this is his first time being in that house. And I think the woman was fed up. The mother was fed up with it. They say he was trying to exit the home. And she popped him in the back of the skull.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's cut and dry. I think a lot of women on TikTok, they're trying to frame it as a black woman trying to protect her kids and being put in jail for it.
Wait. She shot him?
Yeah. In the back of the head, yes. As he was out of the house.
She's going to jail.
She's going to prison.
She's going to jail.
Yeah, she's going to prison. But no, so I'll say this, right? And the daughter came to TikTok and allegedly made a video speaking against her mom and saying that this was an ongoing relationship with the the person that was, you know, deleted or whatnot, and it had said the mother had repeatedly had talks with the daughter or issues with the daughter sneaking that man or men in the house. So this was an occurring thing. And although that may be the case, at the end of the day, you don't get to shoot a man in the back of the head after he's out of your house in any jurisdiction and he's no longer, you know, posing a threat. Now, again, I'm not saying that it is okay for a 20-year-old man to be dealing with a 13-year-old girl by any means. But clearly, again, it's not okay either, especially if this same man had history of dealing with this woman and the woman then properly reported to the authorities in a way, you know, as to where he could be apprehended. But to literally shoot this man as he's out of the house and, you know, in the back of the head in his life. So she's going to go to prison. They're probably going to give her some type of deal, though. I think she'll get probably 20 years, no minimum of that. I don't think they're going to give her life because of the thing, but she's definitely going to prison.
What if she shot him in the front of the head while he was inside of the house? Would it be okay then?
She didn't know. Well, she didn't.
No, I know she didn't. I'm asking, would it be okay?
Well, hypothetically, she would have an excuse for self-defense or self-defense claim as long as her daughter.
Say, oh, he came
as long and it's in Memphis, and Memphis is a 2A positive. I don't want to say they're stand your ground state. I'm not sure if Tennessee is a stand your ground state, but I know that they're definitely pro 2A, and they have castle doctrine. So if she would have shot him in the face, you know, quote unquote, she would have a leg to stand on, right? Especially being that it's a adult man allegedly trying to deal with a minor in a sexual nature, but being that's not the case, she cooked, bro. So with
Second question I want to throw out there related to this was, did y'all hear and find out that he actually had mental intellectual challenges and that he was like in special ed and
what?
a whole not? Yeah, so that's the other part. So the people are arguing not only was she wrong for what she did, but mentally and intellectually he wasn't 20. That he still functioned like a very younger person intellectually. And I wonder what y'all thoughts were, if that would change at all your perspective of legally, of course, it's wrong that a 20-year-old of any kind is with a 13-year-old. But in a situation like this,
you'd have to.
I'm curious what y'all thoughts are about the mental health dynamic of him being intellectually challenged.
Yeah, functioning. Yeah. Well, you'd have to because if he can't mentally function as an adult, even though he's an adult, they already have protections for that. You know, people that have, you know, Down syndrome and certain things and so on and so forth. So he would be protected under certain things because he literally does not operate in the capacity of an adult. If indeed it was, you know, he's challenged to that level or whatnot, what have you. So if he understood that this 20-year-old man who is legally and physically 20, but then mentally, clearly, you know what I'm saying, and this is you know, alleged to be an ongoing situation, that's even furthermore where the mom had a responsibility to get the authorities involved, or in this case, I think it would be social services, because, you know what I'm saying, he's not he's a legal adult, but he's not a mental adult.
Did you say that her daughter is in her defense right now, the 13-year-old?
No, she's not in her defense at all. The daughter is against it. The daughter is against it.
So if that's the case, if we can confirm that her daughter is not in her defense, even if she shot him in the face while he's inside the house, she would have an opposing witness, which is her 13-year-old daughter.
Damn. Your 13-year-old daughter speak out against her mom about you sleeping with a 20-year-old man that got mental issues?
And then it comes to a very uncomfortable conversation. You know, shout out to the black grandmas, fast ass little girls.
But do you guys actually think that if the mom would have called the cops and then the cops would have arrested this 20-year-old and he would have been in jail for SA of a 13-year-old, that somehow his mental state would have actually significantly affected his case, his trial?
Yes. Yes, if it's documented to the point of where he's in the system for that, yes, of course, yeah. And furthermore, there was no and there is no claims of actual sexual contact happening in this situation. It's just he was hiding under the bed. As to where he may have been in the you know, in the home with the girl while the mom wasn't there or something, but no one, be it the mom claimed it or the daughter or even the police, have reported anything about actual SA in the situation. So it was simply the grown man in the house with the young girl, again, which you're not condoning, we're not saying it's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even with his mental incapacity or limitations, we're not saying it's okay. But there were no claims in any way, shape, form, or fashion of him violating the young girl.
Even if it's essay, does that help her case from shooting a man in the back of his head, exiting the house?
No.
So that's technically true, but I've seen judges practice discretion.
Yeah, leniency.
There's definitely some discretion and leniency based off of what's happening with the minor. And that's not always. But I have seen cases where the most you're like, oh man, he's gonna get 20 years.
Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
And
yes, exactly.
It's a woman too. She is a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's a woman doing it to a man, and not a man doing it to a woman. So the punishment is not going to be that severe.
But True, what do you think about this whole situation? Both the shooting and also like his intellectual cognitive age.
I may be a bit of contrarian, but my thoughts as you guys were discussing it is, where is the mom's protection for her?
Where's the mom's protection for what?
Her, for her daughter, outside of the you guys said that this was a recurring thing. So clearly her daughter is in a space to where she's inviting this attention, but due to the fact that it ended in a lethal exchange, do we hold the parent accountable for not, overseeing a certain level of authority of her child and conducting herself a sexual way? That's where my mind went, outside of the fact that he's a 20-year-old and even having cognitive limitations. Where's the lifestyle set up to where your 13-year-old daughter is having anybody in your house at 1:45 a.m. in the morning, and you know about it?
Man, you on something. Again, we do wonder if there was an active father involved, because again, this whole story came and we haven't heard anything about a dad being at all in this picture, or a father being involved in this picture. And what does it mean for your child to even end up in a situation like this at that age, at that time of night? Yeah, I'm like, what type of environment did you create for your child to feel like she could even do something like that? And what Mr. Fantastic said, if what he's saying is true, your child speaks out against you after you were publicly on social media. I'm like, man, that's oof.
She invited this boy over at 1 a.m, and y'all don't think they had nothing to do with fucking?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
Listen, Mr. Fantastic is being objectively honest about what the facts are, but we know if mom didn't intervene, it's highly unlikely it wasn't going to get to that point.
And these are black women, right?
Yeah.
Black women in 2026, 1:45 in the morning, man under the bed. I have no reason to believe that there ain't no busting down going on.
Damn, Darwin.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Growth talk. We got remember when the mother found the grown woman with her son and called the police last year? Yeah, man. And again, the whole teacher apocalypse is crazy, with teachers sleeping with their students, especially female teachers, which is outrageous.
And a lot of them are all married and got kids too. It's crazy. Yep. 1, 2, 3 kids. Husbands had to get home thinking that everything's cool. Dang.
Unity is strength. Thank you for the $10. Watched your weaponized motherhood episode with my 13-year-old second cousin to let him know he's not alone dealing with his crazy mom. It almost moved me to tears watching it together. What can I tell him? And everybody, if you haven't done so, I highly recommend checking out my weaponized motherhood episode. I think most of us grew up, with the whole, mom's always right. And their perspective on relationships and marriage and the dad is law in the gospel. And I think that the status of motherhood, there's a number of ways in which we ladies can kind of manipulate and weaponize it against the fathers and even their own children. So appreciate you, man. And everybody, if you haven't, feel free to check out that particular episode. And then last but not least, BT Frank, thank you for the $4.99. They would flip out if she was white. That young man been there a few times. He didn't deserve to be unalived. Interesting. And again, I guess I want to ask the secondary question. Set the law aside. As a person and as a man, do you agree with that bottom statement that he didn't deserve to be unalive for being in a room, a person's child's room, their daughter's room, 13-year-old daughter's room with a grown man, more than likely sleeping with and potentially, going to do it again if you don't kill him or you don't take him, unalive him. What do y'all agree with that he didn't deserve to die?
Yeah, I think death is an extreme in this situation. I think some jail time, rehabilitation, community service, all that other stuff. I think it'll help. And if it is confirmed that he got mental issues, maybe get him to see a therapist or somebody who can work with him, a psychiatrist or something. But just putting him in a graveyard, I think that's extreme.
Yeah, if you delete the person and then you go to jail and now your kids don't have a parent, so then it's two wrongs. So
yeah, anything outside of catching a person in the act, or there being irrefutable evidence, like clearly where you can tell, yeah, man, no, I don't agree with taking the life. But then again, we come back to a fundamental issue and problem here. Had there been a father in that house, you think that boy would have been in there?
Probably not. More than likely.
And even so, right? If I'm the dad and I catch a 20-year-old man in my daughter's what's her name, I'm not going to use a gun. I mean, I don't think I can. A lot of people think it's easy to, and Darwin will tell you this, a lot of people think it's a lot easier to delete a person with your bare hands than it actually is. It's really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's definitely going to take a ride in the ambulance, without a doubt. But I don't think that I'm going to send him off.
Yeah, Darwin ain't saying, but I know furniture gonna be moving though.
Oh, definitely gonna be
the psychiatrist.
And he's gonna get justice before and after whenever he makes it to court. But yeah, outside of catching a person in the act of violating a child, yet legally you can't, that's all bad, bro.
I'm gonna say something real quick, and I'm gonna say it in a way where I'm allowed to stay on social media. I'm gonna say my honest opinion is, I pray to God I'm never in that situation. I'm gonna be honest with you. A grown man being in my daughter's room, not knowing what he's done or what he's capable of doing in the future. Nah, I can say he doesn't deserve anything, but I know myself. And wanting other people to do what I know I need to do in that moment, I know myself. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I'll be honest with you. I could very easily see how I'll see red until that person's gone. Basically is the best way I could say it, if I'm honest with you. There's very, very few things that'll make me get to that point. This happens to be one of them. Personally. I don't have to catch them in the act. Don't be in a space where it could even be viewed that way, especially in my home, personally. True and AJ and Obsidian, what do y'all think?
Well,
yeah, I think that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that to Fantastic's point, I think sometimes we in the thought of some violation will exercise maximum passion, but lethal force, in my opinion, outside of defending one's life, true life being threatened, that's hard for me to say that action should be taken.
What about defending your family?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not saying that it's a lack of defense, but in this particular case, we'll be using this as an example. This wasn't an imposed threat. This was an invited exchange. My daughter violated the parameter of the rules of the house. I'm pretty sure that we didn't say, hey, when I'm gone, you can go ahead and, conduct yourself as an adult under my roof. This is why the young man was under the bed. So like Fantastic said, we definitely would have some spirited exchanges. He gonna pay, what'd you say, the ambulance?
Ambulance.
He'll take a ride in the ambulance. But to kill him.
Yeah. And True said something very important. I don't think any of us touch out the truth. again, even though we don't support it and we're not excusing or condoning this, the daughter invited the intrusion, and the mother had already threatened the daughter about this so this had happened before. So that makes it even more very, very shaky and questionable on your side for you to take this person's life. And again, we're not saying it's okay, but your daughter is the cause of this. This is an intruder that broke in and, you know, mystical pussy crook type shit, right? This is someone she's familiar with.
Yeah.
Okay? This is someone she's familiar with, and opening the door or unlocking the window. And now you're going to take this person's life for something that your child, even though we don't think it's cool, allowed.
Yo, you know what's funny? It's sad that you got to say that a million times because people that watch these streams be like, you see how they prove about wanting to sleep with 15-year-olds?
Man,
Oh,
I clipped Mr. Fantastic. I clipped him. I'm gonna make a sword out of it. I'm gonna make a sword out. Man, Bruiser said some crazy stuff. I'm gonna clip it.
Well, Bruiser do be saying some crazy stuff, so that's a part of it now. So real quick to kind of wrap things up, Obsidian and AJ, what do y'all think about just that concept of, at the end of the day, would y'all just want the authorities to handle it, or could you honestly see yourself going too far?
This situation, I can say the authorities, but if I caught someone in the act, like Jeff had said, that's completely different, because that's kind of that lizard part of the brain, you know what I'm saying, where you just don't know what you would do, you know? So any man who has to protect his family, there's no links that we wouldn't go to do so. But in that case, since you know, he was under the bed and then it was outside the house, so she had to like run after him and then pop him in the back of the head. She could have just called the cops, or called the cops.
Yeah,
what's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Or called the cops another time when he was at the house. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there was enough of an imminent threat, or like I said, she didn't walk in on him, so it was premeditated. She like ran up, you know, got the gun, loaded it, or whatever, ran after him, followed him outside. So she's cooked.
BT Frank, $4.99. What if that had been a white woman with a little mixed daughter? Would the community be responding? Not as much. I think a lot of communities, generally speaking, tend to focus on their own groupings. So there's a strong possibility that we may have not even heard about it. There's a whole lot of stuff that happens in the white community that we wouldn't even know, and it isn't even covered. So, but I also will argue we're also desensitized to a lot of the violence and stuff that happens in the black community. So, the only reason why we're covering this because it's trending. But I hear you that's definitely something I think, based on who it is that's involved, dictates whether or not people are even interested. And then and Nitty, thank you for the $5. Great show, Jeff. Shout out to the panel, and glad to see Old Man is back in the building. So Obsidian, what were you going to say to kind of close this out?
Well, you know, I have to say that once again, I find myself being very, very thankful that I do not have any kids. Thank you.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. So real quick, man, why don't y'all let everybody know where they can find and support you, and if you have anything upcoming that you want to announce. Let's do Darwin, Mr. Fantastic, True, AJ, and then Mumia.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, same name, Darwin McPherson. Still working on a couple projects. I got something solid going on, but I will make an announcement soon. And that's all I got. I appreciate y'all having me today.
Hey,
and guys, don't get it twisted. I know whenever we have this show, most of y'all want to hear an echo. But as much as I agree with mostly everything everybody said, if I find anything that maybe can be challenged, that's just what I want to do, to just be able to open up our intelligence, to be able to think deeply about some of these matters. So I get it. I read the comments. A lot of y'all are saying he just want to be a contrarian. That might be right. Just bear with us. We're just trying to give you all a show.
We do. I like it.
We need that. We need that, you know, and that's one of the great strengths of the Black manosphere. I'm hoping, and we'll get together and talk about this, and I can, you know, kick the ideas up the chain of command, and maybe we can come back and talk about this next week or in the near future. But I'll just say briefly, going to my brother Darwin's point, we need one of the great strengths of the Black manosphere is that it's so idiosyncratic, that it kind of attracts men who march to the beat of a different drum, and that we're contrarian by nature, that we kind of, you know, everybody's going left, we go right, and vice versa. That's one of our strengths, that we're not prone to groupthink. That's a good thing if we can keep that healthy tension within reason and perspective, and we don't let it just kind of, you know, spiral out of control and go into the dark corners of the Black manosphere. But if we can keep that healthy tension there, that's a good thing, because we need, you know, competing ideas. It makes you think. It makes you really sit. And you know, one of the most dangerous men in America is a Black man who sits down to think. That's dangerous. And I think a lot of people know it. That's the reason why you're always, how come you're not working all the time? How come you're not doing this? They want you always on the move, so you can't sit down and dig yourself. If you have time to really sit and think, some dangerous things can happen. Yeah.
So, Mr. Fantastic, man, where can people find you and support you?
Hey man, Mr. Fantastic 824 on all social media platforms, man. Catch me mostly on YouTube. I'm actually trying to get something going with the comedy thing and reviewing a lot of Jeff stuff and other brothers in the space stuff on IG. Make sure you support. And I'm terrorizing shit on Twitter as we speak. So pull up on me. Just be prepared. But yeah, man, Mr. Fantastic 824 on all social media platforms, man. Appreciate y'all for having me yet again.
Okay, for sure, man. True. What about you, brother?
Oh, just thank you for having me up on the panel. You can find me same first name and last name, TREUTABLE, on Instagram, on YouTube, regularly on the Lapeef channel every Thursday. And when Jeff requests me, I'm here with you fine people. Thank you.
Yes, sir. What about you, AJ?
It's AJ's Rants and Reactions on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks, Jeff, for having me. And if I could just say, y'all remember back in the 2000s when we were playing like Grand Theft Auto 3 and they were still saying that violent video games were like so bad. In the news, they were talking about Doom. It's like no one plays Doom anymore. That's how you knew how out of touch that the media was. Anytime that they talk about the manosphere and talk about Andrew Tate, is like Andrew Tate's not really relevant. The men on this panel and people like them that are relevant. You know what I'm saying? Anytime anyone brings up Andrew, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, we don't even really talk about him. We are, because he's in the news, obviously. But men like Jeff, Darwin, Mr. Fantastic, True, Obsidian, they're the ones out here doing the work and making the change and actually positively reaching out to young men. And it's just this thing with this media group where they just, the leader of the red pill. It's like, you're so out of touch. You just don't realize how foolish you sound. So I think that this whole thing's just gonna, just blow over. Some people think that it's a political win. I don't get it. But yeah, thanks, Jeff, for having me.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. What about you, Obsidian?
Well, first off, we got to go shameless plug. The Gospel of St. Kevin Samuels, as you can see, got the King James Bible look. A lot of people have gotten this book and they all love it. Haven't had a bad review yet. Still have copies available. Hit me up to my 100 to my Cash App, because this is special. As you can see, it's a special conclave edition. So 100 to my Cash App for a signed autograph edition. 75 unsigned to my Cash App. $Obsidian Radio, $Obsidian Radio. You can get your copy, get your piece of history, the Gospel of St. Kevin Samuels. I talk about the whole story of the book inside. Really great stuff. Also, the Black Manosphere Conclave. Me, Jeff, Darwin, Dave, everybody gonna be there in Las Vegas coming up September 11th through the 13th. For tickets and info, www.blackmanosphere.com. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I just met with BGS about an hour or two before we did our live. So feel free for everybody to check that out. If y'all have not checked out my interviews, my most recent ones, especially with Dr. Catherine Liu, Janice, Rico. Yeah, man, your boy is working. Your boy is grinding. So I'm busy. BGS said I'm not allowing no grass to grow under my feet. So your boy has got a lot of big plans, like Darwin and the others on the panel. And I'm grateful, man. Your boy hit 93,000 subscribers this week.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, man. So definitely growing on the road to trying to get that silver plaque and join the ranks of everybody who's been able to accomplish and do that feat, and keep building from there, man. So everybody, if you haven't done so, please make sure that you follow every man that you see on the platform, including Dave Anderson and many of the guests that we brought on so far. Make sure that y'all show love, subscribe, follow, hype, and make sure y'all send this to at least 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. We hope that y'all enjoyed this, and we'll see y'all on the other side next week. Peace.